name is Dr. Tracy Karras, and welcome to the SOH, otherwise known as the state of healthcare. The state of healthcare in the United States, let's be honest, is actually one of illness. We spend far more money than any other nation to receive less care and less quality of care. Walter Cronkite calls it neither healthy, caring, or a system. As a healthcare professional who's had 20 plus years in this system, my focus is on prevention and education and trying to get patients back to actually enjoying happy and functional lives. So it's frustrating to me when I have to watch my patients and my friends and my family fight against a system just to get what little care they do, and oftentimes get a medication thrown at them instead of actually looking for what the problem is, or trying to find a healthier alternative that's not going to damage them in the long term. That's why we're here, so I invite you to join me on this journey. We're going to be starting to raise awareness. Awareness is the first step in any good 12-step program, right, to making change. We have a broken system where only a few people profit, and I'm not picking on all of those hard healthcare workers in the trenches, because those are the people, unfortunately, getting burnt out and leaving the system. So we need to figure out what's going on. So in this podcast, we're going to be interviewing some healthcare professionals, people in the industry, people surrounding the industry, and try to figure out what's going on here, what's broken for them, what would make their lives easier, and how we're going to do this. So welcome to the SOH, and let's figure out what's going on. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the State of Healthcare. Today, I am here with Dusty.
Hi.
And I am going to actually, like always, let her introduce herself and kind of like where her specialty is with everything.
So my name is Dusty. So I've been a lot of things in my life, but in this season, I'm moving into being a nutrition coach. So yeah, I had a lot of things that really helped me, and I decided I wanted to start helping other people. So
perfect. So what goes into that?
So a lot of things. So some of it's a little bit like, a lot of it's like motivating people, because people are really good about starting things. They're not so great with keeping up with them. And especially with like anything that's around like working out, eating healthy, it's kind of one of those things that like, it's great when you have the time, but as soon as life catches up with you, then that's like one of the first things to go. Right. So there's a lot of like trying to keep people on track. And it's not always like keeping them on track with a specific thing. Sometimes it's just like, hey, are you drinking enough water today? Or like, hey, we talked about, just trying to like sit down and enjoy a meal and like really like not be distracted by it. And a lot of times people don't have time for that. So it's kind of just keeping them on track with whatever healthy habit we've talked about for the week. So
I can relate actually from therapy, because I always feel like I'm the nag.
Yes.
Like, have you done your exercise?
Which, and I'm like the worst patient, because you're going to ask me that later and I'm going to be like, yeah.
And you know what I also ran into a little bit with patients is sometimes they're afraid if they don't do the entire list. So like, I don't want people to think they have to do 50 things. If you do like 3 or 4 of the exercises, I'm happy.
Exactly.
And so even if you can just pick a few and do them, like it's something. And again, through today's episode, we're going to have my cat is going to encourage. So if you hear that in the background,
she doesn't love visitors. So
I'm sorry. She does, but she doesn't. I don't know. But
you'd think she'd like me because I've been here to feed her so many times, but no, still no.
She's like claiming her territory of like from the cat outside. But so I get that. So it's hard because healthy habits, right? It's like developing into a habit.
And there's so much like of that mindset where if you didn't do everything, you've failed. And so we're really trying not to set people up for failure. So it's not every day has to be perfect. It's like, okay, so you know what? Today wasn't perfect. We're going to move on and tomorrow's going to be better.
Right. And even if it is just drinking more water tomorrow, right? Because Arizona and it's really, really hot.
It is really hot. I have friends all over, and one of my friends was saying how she's like, oh, I'm struggling to get in 80 ounces of water a day. And I'm like, it's 120 here. I am not struggling.
Right. We need the water.
And I'm like, I think I'm drinking like 3 of my giant water bottles and then some, because it's just oh my God, it's not going to let up here. Where's our rain?
Yeah, I know. I was like, you're welcome to July.
Yeah, but where's our rain? Because it should be raining at some point. Monsoon. Like, where's our monsoon?
Well, my question for you is, then you said you had people that guided you. So like, how did that with things?
I actually had a coach for close to 2 years. And I mean, I've learned a lot, done a bunch of different things with that. So, initially starting out, my goal was always weight loss. That was because I really was in that headspace where like, I need to lose weight to be what I want to look like and kind of fit into what everybody else is doing. And so much of that has shifted now, especially because of the kind of workouts that I started doing. And now it's really just, I've learned that I have to eat so that I have the energy to get through my workouts, so that I have the energy to get through my day, so that I feel good, so that my muscles recover. And it's not about how much weight can I lose now. It's just, how can I keep my body healthy? Because my whole goal is to be able to, because we have plans to go, roaming the earth when we get older.
As long as possible.
But it's like, I have so many plans for when I finally retire, and not a single one of them involves not being able to get out of my own chair. So like a lot of what I'm doing now is I want to age and treat my body well, so that when I get to that point, I can still move around. And trying to lose weight is not the way to do that. It's more like, I'm trying to build muscle at this point. I'm trying to make sure that I have muscle mass as I get into my older years. So the nutrition coaching that I did started out with that goal of like, I need to lose weight, I need to be skinny, but it has evolved so much more into, I just want to take care of my body. And that's really where I'm trying to take it with my clients. It's not so much about, if you have that goal, I can help you get there, but I really prefer to work with people on just learning healthy habits, learning how to eat a meal without feeling bad about it. We demonize food so much, and that's one of my big sticking points is I'm really trying to stop the good, bad, I shouldn't eat that, I'm being good today, and I don't eat carbs because I want to, make sure that they're carbs are the devil. That's how there's so much of that. So it's really just trying to help people build a better relationship with food, because that's what I am trying to do with myself. Is I don't want to feel guilty if I want to eat a cupcake or enjoy an ice cream sundae. So, for some of the other things that we do all the time.
Right.
And I think that every healthy lifestyle has room for those things. So it's like, you don't have to eat broccoli and brown rice and chicken all the time. It can be, I enjoy this food and this is what I'm feeling like today. And that's okay.
Well, it's interesting. So 2 things. One, obviously I want to travel the world and do all the things. So I feel like you hit on a point that a lot of the other podcasts have also touched on, in the fact of like movement and mobility and being able to age how you choose, basically. Or like, if that's where you're happy and you want to, like, I want to be able to get out of a chair and not have to have help. I want to be able, I have a lot of goals. I have a lot of of my own fitness goals. And it's not so much of like how much I weigh as like, am I strong enough to do this? Am I mobile enough to do this? And so I feel like even for my PT clients, that's it for me. I'm like, it's not about the weight, it's about how healthy are you? How do you move? What can we do to get these things? So
and that's the thing is like, now I find myself, the most concerned I am about weight is how much is on the bar.
For being able to lift.
For being able. So that's my big, I did a workout this morning and I text my friend and I'm like, I didn't lift as much as I wanted to today. I wanted to be heavier. And she's reminding me that like, I've been sick. So it's
also taking care of yourself.
She's like, you did hit a personal best today. She's like, and also you've been sick. And I'm like, yeah, but I still wanted it to be heavier. So like, that's the weight that I'm most concerned with now, which is such a big mindset shift from how skinny can I be? How low can I get that number on the scale? And now it's like, how much weight can I put up? Like what, I want that number to go up.
Right.
So it's been a nice shift to not be focused on the scale, which doesn't really tell you the most important thing in your life. So well,
and you and I both grew up in I'm sure there was the world of Twiggy and the things, but I feel like we had a very diet mentality.
The 90s were bad. They called it heroin chic. Anything that's named after something that happens to you when you do drugs is terrible.
You can be this skinny if you take this.
But you can be if you just stop eating. The message was always, if you think you're hungry, you might be thirsty, so just drink some water. Oh my
Maybe
God.
some lemon water, right?
Like, oh my God. And everything was low fat, and then it was like low fat, and then Atkins started. So it was like this, like, don't eat carbs, but also don't eat fat. There's not very much left after that. So
So I feel like that world like for a lot of us, I feel like that kind of growing up, we were so
oh my God, absolutely. Like Snackwells. Like, do you remember the Snackwells? And they were terrible.
Right.
And it's like, this was a healthy cookie. It was a healthy cookie because it was low fat, I think. And and it's like, God, we had terrible eating habits in the 90s, and we're just in a terrible model for what we were trying to do with our bodies. And it just, we've transitioned out of that so much, because so much more of what you see is women being strong and, trying to get to a healthy body weight. A lot of influencers are showing like when they were at their skinniest and thought that they were happy. And now that they've put on muscle, put on weight, and their periods are coming back, or because that's one that doesn't get talked about enough.
Yes.
Is that when you are that skinny, you almost always lose your cycle.
Right.
And that's not, yeah, it's great to not have one, but it's really not good for your hormones.
Hormonally, that messes with you in so many ways. Yeah. And why are people so angry? Dieting people are always so angry, right? Because you have no fuel.
No, exactly.
to do the things.
You can't even get up to do things. It's terrible. So, a lot of what you're seeing now is like those side by sides, and they're showing like, this is what I look like now. And I feel so much better. I'm so much happier with myself because I'm not constantly chasing this number on the scale. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's been a big change. And I'm glad that we're shifting in that way.
Right.
There was like a talk, maybe 6 months ago, an article came out that was something like heroin chic is coming back. And I'm like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. We are not doing that. And it wasn't so much geared towards our age group, because we already did that. We realized it was terrible. It's geared towards younger girls. And that's who they're marketing to now. And so we really have to start changing that from our end, like modeling those behaviors for our children.
Yes. Yeah. And I know you just kind of put a post up about that. So I didn't know if you wanted to kind of talk on that.
And that was a really important thing for me, is because, so I've got nieces and nephews. I want to make sure that they're growing. So I don't have kids of my own. That was never something that we were super interested in. And then I'm sure we'll touch on it on another podcast, but I actually went through cervical cancer. So that kind of made the decision for us of, do we want to do this? Do we want to have kids? Do we want to find a way to make this work? And we essentially decided like, we were good. We've got nieces and nephews. We're very happy. So we never needed children of our own. We've got 2 cats. We're very happy with that. Yes. But I do have nieces and nephews, and they're hitting teenage years. My husband's niece she just turned 16 and she is going to get bombarded with all of these messages. So I don't want any of them to grow up thinking that what they have to do is eat less food so they can be smaller. And also, that's just not how we want them to grow up. We want them to grow up with healthy habits.
It's hard. So, I think it was hard for us, right? We got bombarded with these messages, but now kids not only have all the cyberbullying and all the other stuff. God. If you go on Instagram, you're constantly bombarded with
Nothing is real. Nothing is real.
Yeah. And it's this image of person, right?
Oh my God, I know.
Stuck in this, like, oh my gosh, and I could just do these 3 exercises and be perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
I could do this and this bad diet.
Yeah.
And so that is the
fear. And
fear.
you don't know what someone else has done to get there. There are so many things now. There's like the weight loss drugs, and that one that is really popular right now, like the semaglutide, that is just everywhere. And it's like, you don't know what somebody has done, what kind of surgeries they've done, or
what filter they're using to do, or what angle you use just to get the image, the view of a certain way.
Yeah. So, it's like, even just, you can see people do like the before and afters, but it's the same day.
Right.
They're like, oh, here's me, standing in this perfect pose. And then here's me in my regular pose. And it's like, it's such a lie. Instagram is such a lie. And so we're trying to, we're trying to learn how to differentiate those things, but it's really hard.
Well, and it's also sad that it still targets that same age where you're very vulnerable. You're trying to define who you are. You're trying to figure out your world.
Right.
And now you're getting bombarded with these messages of like, here's what you should be. Right. And then if you're not here, then you're obviously a failure.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's the thing, is like, it's so easy to have self-esteem issues, seeing all of these people that are in some way better than you, which they're not better. They're just, they're just who they are. And maybe some of it's not even real.
Right.
So it's like, they can't be better because half of that's not real.
Right. Yeah. So it gives you this unattainable level of perfection.
Absolutely.
And so I feel like on some level, even though we had these terrible things.
Right. We had all the fashion magazines. We had 17, which always had,
which also made me feel terrible about myself.
Of course. And every woman's magazine, if you looked at it, was like, how to lose 10 pounds in 5 days. And here's do you remember the Hollywood diet? It was like a container of juice, and you would water it down and drink it for like 3 days, and you'd lose well, you lost weight, but you just lost a bunch of water. It wasn't, you didn't lose fat.
Right. And then it would come back.
Yeah, it came back as soon as you started. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, oh my God, it looked horrible.
Right.
It looked terrible.
But you would buy these things because you were like, oh, and it was every magazine, especially targeted for women, was targeted.
They'd have like rulers on the cover. It would have like
about your waist and all this stuff.
It would be like how to lose, and lose would be wrapped in a measuring tape. And it's like everything was geared towards how small can you make yourself?
Well, and again, it's like that mentality that's always started for like women getting stuck into corsets or these things and all this stuff. And then I remember being a teenager and then they're trying to measure, even if I can't measure myself now, like, and you're like, how much is your waist? I'm like, I don't know.
I was like trying to look for something for her birthday. I'm like, what's waist measurement? I want to make sure it fits.
And I'm like, I don't know.
She's just throwing out numbers. I'm like, are you making those up?
I am. I'm like, I don't measure myself anymore. I just do the things and I try stuff on.
Sometimes you need those numbers.
Yes. So
only picking out clothing from the internet, you need those numbers.
Yeah. But as a kid, I was like, especially a teenager, I was measuring and I'd get upset and I didn't lose inches. And
I had a little notebook and I would write down, I would always keep my little measurements and and I look back at pictures and I'm like, my God, I was so small. I was so small. And I still thought that I was fat. I still would look in the mirror and I'd pinch my little belly and I'd like turn and try and suck it in as much. And I'm looking at pictures and I'm like, oh my God, I weighed maybe 100 pounds and I'm the same height I am now.
Right.
And I mean, at that age, I can't say I was necessarily unhealthy because I wasn't not eating. My metabolism was fast. I was 20, it was a lot easier then to not put on weight. But I mean, I would, oh my God, my favorite thing to do was look at the workout video, like the late night shows, and you'd watch for the workout videos. And, oh my God, I think I bought like 4 or 5 of them. I still have them somewhere.
I like the things.
I had like beach body and I had there was like a Brazilian butt workout I mean, I had all of them because I love to like stay up late at night and watch these. And I'm like, I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to do that every day so I can be skinny. And I'm like, I'm going to do that.
No, and I feel like that particular diet mentality, I feel like unfortunately there has been a slight shift, but I feel like it needs to keep.
Yeah, we definitely have to keep growing that because there's still a lot of diet culture out there. So it's like we really have to, it's not going to be something that we stop this year or next year or even 10 years from now, but we can start changing it.
Right.
And that's what I've been doing, is just basically surrounding myself with other people who feel the same, so we can get this message out that you really can't focus on the scale. It can't be all about how small can you make yourself. We need to start worrying about how am I going to feel in 10 years, in 20 years, in 40 years? Like I see this meme all the time and it's like, I'm training for my old lady body. Yes. And I'm like, absolutely. That's what we should be thinking about, is like, how can I take care of myself at a younger age to make sure that when I'm older, I can still do everything I want.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've been asking everybody just about COVID. So how do you think, how did COVID affect the nutrition world?
So I think I want to say possibly in a positive way, because I think everybody kind of went through COVID where they sat on their couch, they watched a bunch of TV, they drank a lot of wine, and then everybody, kind of got into a really unhealthy space, unhealthy mentally, unhealthy physically, like most of us really did. So I think after that, once the world picked back up again, people kind of took a look around and said, okay, I can't do this anymore. So I think it's actually been really positive, because I think there are a lot more coaches out there. I think there are a lot more people that are looking for healthy habits, because a lot, like for me, actually, that's how I got started being so serious about working out. So pre-COVID, I was maybe 1 or 2 days a week where I would go do kickboxing, and, I couldn't ever do it consistently, but sitting on my couch during COVID, my body hurt. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not moving. And was that it? Was that what makes this not hurt?
Right.
And as soon as the gym opened back up, I was at least 4 days a week. And that changed everything for me. So, I mean, for me personally, COVID was my shifting point where I said, I can't sit around on the couch anymore. This does not feel good.
Right.
I want to be moving. And ever since then, I have been super consistent. So I think a lot of people really felt like that they realized how much it was hurting them to be at home, to not be eating well. And they've said, I can't do this anymore. And I think, of course, there's always going to be people who who ended up like working from home, and a lot of their, like, everything is now revolving around being in their house.
Right.
I'm glad to see that some of that's changing a little bit. Like people have gone back out in the world, so that's nice. But yeah, I think for some people it's been harder because they didn't have to leave their house.
Right.
So maybe have slipped into some habits that aren't working as well for them. But the nice thing is so many of the coaches are online. So you don't necessarily have to be going to a gym or like going outside to do things. I mean, even just walking is a healthy thing. Like people, it's so underrated because it doesn't feel like you're doing much, but like going for a walk every day.
It's just movement.
I know that's big for you. I know that's a big one.
That's my thinking time.
Yeah. No, and like you always take your boyfriend out to go for a walk. Like it's like having a dog. Take that for a walk. Don't tell him I said that. It's okay because he still likes me. So.
Yeah, but it's time to connect, right? Like we talk, and it's a way to work things out. I mean, it's a little bit more challenging currently.
I was going to say we've stopped walking right now because it's so hot.
Yes, but I do get that kind of my first thing early, and then I'll come into the house and do my other stuff.
Yeah, so. Which if you're not in Arizona, we're in like 25 days, something like that, of 110 plus. Yeah. So and it's still 100 degrees at 5-6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, so it's challenging. So you still always want to be safe when you're out there. But
so I've shifted my workouts. So like right now, like the latest I want to work out is the 7 a.m. class because after that it's just brutal.
Hot, right?
And our gym is not air conditioned, so there's fans, but like you're not. Yeah, it's not the same. If we run, we're running outside. So like once the sun's up, you're like, all right, I don't want to do this anymore.
Well, it's interesting you say that because even when I talked to Dr. Steve, who does lifestyle medicine, he said his practice exploded because people wanted to not be in the shape where they would be a person who was at risk of catching some of these things.
Exactly.
And so now they're exploded with patients because all these people are like, I've got to do something.
Right.
I was at risk.
Like I was a person who was at a higher risk for this. So I don't want to be that person anymore. I think that's great.
Yeah. So that's one positive spin.
Right.
Of all the terrible things that happen.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, sometimes it's like, for most people, all you need are little changes, like adding in vegetables to your diet. And it's like, we never talk about taking away things. Like, I don't believe in any kind of restricted eating. I don't believe that you need to stop eating carbs or stop eating fat or do keto or any of those things where you're cutting out foods. Like, we love cupcakes. We go to bakeries all the time and get all kinds of desserts. Like I was a pastry chef before this. Like I'm never going to give up my desserts. So it's all about what can we add into your lifestyle to make it better. So like, can we add in some vegetables that are going to make you feel you're going to have better digestion or you're going to feel fuller or and like, what can we add in? Can we add in more water? Are you drinking enough water? Are you eating enough protein to make sure that when you do those workouts, your body's recovering well? So, I mean, it's all about what can we add to what you're already doing? And a lot of times what will happen is if you're adding in those things, maybe you don't feel like eating a cupcake every day. Or maybe you, like for me, I've kind of figured out that like, I don't always need to eat a whole cupcake, which is funny because I spend a couple days a week helping out a few different bakeries. And it's like, or like, Bada Bling has those little mini cupcakes. And I'm like, I could be perfectly happy with a mini cupcake.
Right.
I've got like 15 cupcakes in my freezer right now. Because I'll take them home and I'm like, I don't feel like eating this. And I'll just put it in the freezer. And maybe someday I feel like eating it. So I cut like half of it. And I'm like, if I feel like eating the other half, I do. But a lot of times I'm like, I actually feel pretty good after that.
Right.
And because you add in all these things. Yeah, because we've added in all of these other things. And I'm like, I really like to evaluate, like, how am I going to feel after I eat that? I am big on like, I hate cooking dinner. And as soon as it starts to get like kind of late and I'm a little bit lazy, I'll look at my husband and I'm like, oh, let's just get a pizza. And he's like, I'm not going to feel good after I eat that. And I'm like, neither am I. Sometimes we still say, let's get the pizza. But like, I know if I'm going to get up and do like a 6 or 7 a.m. workout,
you don't want to feel
I am not going to feel great if I eat pizza before that. So like, if I go to bed, you know, having eaten this heavy food, I'm not going to feel great in the morning. So sometimes I look at that and I'm like, yeah, you know, you're right. I'm not going to feel. And sometimes we go, no, screw it. I really want pizza. That's going to make me feel good today. And that's okay because there is room in a healthy lifestyle for things that you still enjoy. Like it's just, it's learning how to evaluate if that's going to make me feel good now, if that's going to make me feel good later. How am I going to feel in my workout? How am I going to feel when I'm, you know, having that for lunch and then have to go back to work? Like, so it's kind of like making that choice of, is this the right food for the moment? And if it is, great. If it's not, cool. I'm going to put it on the list and I have it another time when it is right. So it really is all about like, how can you make those conscious choices that just make your body feel better?
And I like that it takes away the punishment aspect, because I think once you start reward and punishment,
oh my God, yes,
you spiral, right? And then you tend to not stick to a habit.
And think about like how often we use food as a reward. I mean, every kid in our age group, it was, you can't have dessert unless you eat your vegetables. So now vegetables are bad. Vegetables are this thing that you have to eat like however many
bites. Yes. Right? I had to like 3 bites of fla,
and you have to eat that broccoli. And it's like, now, it's like you're instilling this message from such a young age that like vegetables are gross and you have to force yourself to eat them, but your reward is this sugary dessert that is your reward for having done this horrible thing of eating vegetables. And it's like, it doesn't have to be like that.
Right.
It's finding foods that you do like. Nobody should be. There's always the, well, I don't want to eat kale. Great. If you don't like kale, you don't have to eat kale.
Right. Let's find a healthy alternative.
Find the things that you like.
Right. And I remember even as a child, it was like this. And again, you're not going to be the wasting thing, and you don't want to be
my God, yes. There's children starving. This helps them none for me to keep eating.
Yes. And I remember I would just starve. I would be like, I guess I won't eat.
Yes, I'm one of them.
I won't be eating as I'm not eating that. Yep. And I would just hold out.
Oh yeah. No, I was a stubborn kid. Yeah. And I mean, I was pretty fortunate that I didn't have a lot of the, you have to eat this. I mean, of course it was like, you have to try it, but I was a pretty picky eater as a kid. I mean, oh my God, the things I didn't like avocado. I didn't like cream cheese. The things I didn't like as a kid. Oh my God. I look back and I'm like, what was I thinking? But, I did like broccoli. So like my mom knew I was going to eat the broccoli because we had a lizard and it looked like little trees and the lizard liked the broccoli. So I liked the broccoli. So that was fine. But she would make Brussels sprouts and I'm like, nope, no dice. They look like alien heads. I'm not eating that. So I think, there was not a lot of like, you have to eat this. It was kind of like, okay, we know she's not going to eat this, so let's just stick with the things that she will eat.
Well, and then you still get the, your vegetables that way. I don't make fun, but ironically, the stuff I wouldn't eat was my Mediterranean food because
that's so funny.
Yeah, because my dad was Greek, and my mom would make this stuff, and I'm like, no. And now I'm like, I want all the things.
Yeah, and now we go out and get Mediterranean food.
Yeah, and now I love it, and I appreciate it. So as a child, I was like, no, I'll starve for days.
I can't say that ever would have come up when I was a kid. I mean, I doubt that we would ever have tried it, and I probably wouldn't have even tried hummus as a kid. There's no way. There's no way I would have eaten that.
Right. I have to say I'm a little bit more adventurous of an eater now, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely more adventurous as an adult.
But yeah, I do like that because I feel like also it's the same thing again for exercise, right? Like people are like, I haven't done my exercises. And and it's like you find something that you enjoy. Right. And you don't use exercise as a punishment.
Yes. That's a big I was, oh my God, that was always the message of well, you have to burn off what you ate. And like they still like that's still a message that's out there. Like you need to burn off dinner, or like, oh, you ate that dessert. You need to go work it off in the gym tomorrow. Or a big one is like people who want you to do a workout. I mean, I still like to work out on Thanksgiving. My gym does a big workout. I like to go to it. It's really fun. But I don't.
I like your turkey dinner.
Yeah, but I never do that to earn my food. If anything, I do that so that I'm hungrier. I get to eat more
things. But it's also a fun social activity. But
it is.
I don't. And for me, I don't want people to look at their therapy. I mean, I don't know if they're going to get excited to do their therapy exercises. Maybe they'll be excited because they'll feel better, right?
Excitement comes at the end when you don't have pain anymore.
Yeah, like look at what you can do.
So now you don't hurt when you do this now.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for with the therapy. But I also don't want people to see that as a punishment, right? So the same type of mentality, it was like, you have to eat vegetables, you can't have this, you have to work out. And so I feel like that's created in people. But again, that's what you're talking about, just finding something you like doing. Like, say you like walking, say you like dancing, say you like, doing ballet.
There's no right or wrong exercise. I mean, it's really whatever it is that is going to keep you doing it consistently.
Right.
So, I mean, if it's walking, that's great. Walking is movement. I mean, we were taking dance classes together. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is.
Right. Because you're out and then you're more likely to do it.
Exactly. So, I mean, there are some things that are like, as you age, it's really good to add in things that are strength activities so that you can keep and maintain that muscle. And if you can, build some more of it. But it doesn't mean that you have to do that in a traditional way. It doesn't mean you have to go to the gym and lift weights. It can be in so many different ways. But there are certain activities that are good for you as you age, because you want to be able to maintain a healthy body as you get into your older years. So,
it's also interesting because I feel like we're shattering not only these diet things but we're shattering also the stuff with the stigmas of getting older.
Right.
Because I feel like for so many people, it was like, well, this is just part of aging. It does not.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't.
Right.
Yeah. You don't have, my husband is big on like, he would always ask me, he's like, well, we don't have kids. Who's going to take care of us when we get old? And I'm like, well, how old are you talking? He's like, well, like in our 70s. And I'm like, oh,
we're still going to be doing
I'm like,
things.
well, I'm going to be fine. So I don't know about you, but he's going to go live in a home. I am going to be touring Europe.
We'll be living in Greece at that point, eating all the Mediterranean food.
There's a lot of walking and a lot of stairs, so we need to be in good shape.
Or in that village where all the people are like over 100.
Yeah, exactly.
And they do stairs and they go bar.
Yeah, the guy that asked Zac Efron if he needed help on the stairs. I love that.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
as he's like 90 something.
Yeah, and I'm like, I want to feel that good at that age. I want to be the older ladies that are doing silks or that are on the pole. I mean, I want to be one of those ladies that's in my 90s and defying those age standards.
Right.
And I really hope that that's the case.
And I think I sent you as the lady in the silks who's like 82 and like flowing and holding
she's
herself.
Amazing
and beautiful.
And the thing is like our parents and our grandparents didn't grow up with that mentality. You weren't the most important thing in your life. I mean, you raised your kids and I mean, there's nothing wrong with what they were doing. It's just different times, and we have evolved and our mindset has evolved. And now it's that, yes, your children are important, but you are important too. And you have to take care of yourself. So it doesn't mean taking away from that. It's just, you do have to start thinking about how you're going to age. And, I remember gyms from like the 80s and early 90s, and it was not what it is today.
Yes.
It was really just a different experience. And also it was kind of a thing that everybody didn't have a gym membership.
Right.
Because it was kind of this exclusive thing that was probably more expensive then.
Yeah. And then it was almost like, because I look at my grandparents and they worked. So they just worked a lot. Right. And that was their movement. Like they were just physically active. They had physically difficult jobs. Yeah. So they were active from like the time they got up till they came home and had dinner. So they were just physically
And you came home and you took care of the kids and you make dinner and all of those things.
And now that it's shifted, right? So then it starts shifting to more computer and
we have a lot of
jobs.
Sitting and I mean, my husband would, when he was working from home, he had bruises on the back of his legs, and I was like, "What's wrong with your legs?" And he's like, "Oh, it's just from my chair." And I'm like, "You have to get up and move. Like you have got to get up and walk around during the day, because that's not okay."
So I think for my grandparents and maybe even into my parents' age, they probably made fun of people that went to the gym. And the fact that they're like, why are they not moving enough? Why do they have to? And you always like, you drive somewhere to get out to go and exercise to get back in your car.
Yeah. Well, and also they weren't everywhere. I mean, oh my God, you can throw a rock and hit a gym around me.
Like it's like two corners. They're opposing.
But it was just, exercise wasn't viewed in the same way. I mean, you might have like in the 80s, they had like the jazzercise classes in the mall, So you're like in a fish tank. Everybody's watching you work out. But I mean, it wasn't, again, it was all like, do cardio, be smaller. It was never, women don't lift weights. Women do not lift weights because you will get bulky.
Right. And you won't be feminine.
And I don't know if you know how long that takes to get bulky from lifting weights. It is incredibly difficult.
Right. There's a very big training regimen, but there was just a stigma. About what
absolutely. I mean, I was always, even in the 90s and early 2000s, I was told not to lift weights, or that if I did, it should be very low weight for a lot of, because I wasn't trying to build muscle. I was trying to lengthen my muscle and tone up. And oh my God, I know. And now it's all like, it's such a different mindset. And I'm like, no, lift heavy shit.
Right. Because again, it's functional. It's good for, obviously with safe technique and amazing things and
always
all that other stuff.
Yes.
But, or you do have to hang out with me, but
I know I'm going to take you to the gym and like, okay, show me all the things that are wrong.
Right. So it's just, but I guess I am appreciating that mentality, and I think it's trying to get out there. And I feel like, even where I've seen with older people, you don't have to, like some of my clients are like, I need to be able to get on and off the floor.
Yes.
Let me get strong enough so I can actually do my daily life where I don't get hurt.
because so that was something that happened recently that was terrifying to me. So my husband's grandmother lives in an assisted living home, and but she, for whatever reason, didn't want to call downstairs and tell them this. So she texted my husband and she said, are you free? Can you come up and help me? And she had fallen, and she said, I'm not hurt. It was a very controlled fall. I just sort of like let myself onto the ground. She said, but I don't have the strength to push myself off the ground. And I thought that was one of the most terrifying things I could think of. I don't ever want to be in a position where I don't have the strength to push myself off the ground. And so that is something that keeps me motivated on days where I don't feel like going to the gym, because surprise, even when you like it, you don't always feel like doing it.
Yes. Well, and I mean, there's obviously, I mean, I appreciate this industry, but there's a whole industry built around people falling and can't get up.
Yes. I mean, so much of what you do
is based off of I've fallen and accidents happen. Accidents happen for everybody.
Of course.
And I do have patients where I'm like, this is important for you. But again, you know, people are like, but I'm older. And I'm like, you should still be able to get off the ground.
Yes.
So, you know, there's my 90-year-old dad who can get off of the ground with all of his things, with bad knees.
Holding the cat.
You know, he'll get down and he may have a thing and then he'll get himself up and try to hide what happened.
Yeah.
And, you know.
It doesn't mean that you don't slow down as you age, because I think that that's natural. I mean, our bodies aren't meant to last forever, but
no matter how much we've tried.
Right, I know. Except in the case of Tracy's dad, who is just going to live forever.
Yes.
But I mean, really, I mean, as long as you're working on keeping your body from breaking down so much faster than it should.
Yes.
And there are always, like you said, things that happen. There are always extenuating circumstances, things that we don't plan on happening that are out of our control. But the ones that you can control, you should.
Yes.
I mean, who looks forward to aging and says, oh, I really hope that I end up in a nice nursing home?
And when you find that phrase, please tell me where it is.
I know.
I haven't seen a lot of those.
Yeah, because I got to tell you, the food's not looking great.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. We've eaten dinner. I mean, it's not terrible, but I don't know if I want to do that every day for the rest of my life.
Right. I mean, yeah. And then I appreciate all of the switches in mentality. I guess for me, I didn't know if there was anything that you, from your experience or just advice wise. I mean, I feel like we've hit a lot of good topics, but I didn't know if there was any last minute things that you wish you could just pass on to people. I
mean, really just like, it doesn't have to be that you make all these changes at once. Healthy habits are things that you start with one, you build on these habits. You do one thing as many days as you can. And it's not going to be perfect, but it's not about being perfect, because that's not how we are. It's realizing that like tomorrow you can do this again. And so it's like, you start with one thing, you build on that. It doesn't need to be, I'm going to clean out the fridge, I'm going to buy all healthy foods, I'm going to start going to the gym 5 days a week. Those are things that are set up to fail. Those are things where you're probably not going to do that for more than 3 days in a row. And you're going to break down and like go through the drive-through and you're going to feel terrible about it. So we don't set those kinds of habits. We set like, you know what? So this week I'm going to try adding vegetables into 3 meals that I wouldn't normally have vegetables with. And next week, if that goes well, we're going to try for 5 days. So it's little things that are sustainable, because this is not a diet. This is not, well, I'm going to do it for a little while. These are things that you can do for the rest of your life. So that's what we're trying to build, is these habits that you'll take
the rest of your
life with you. So,
Well, no, and that's perfect. And there's a couple of things. One, it's like, it's changing basically your lifestyle, which is always a harder sell. But
at least it does. But the thing is, it's like, it's not changing your lifestyle in a way that's like, you have to give up the fun, because you don't have to give up the fun things. And that's where I think a lot of these like programs go wrong, is it's like, well, you can't have that, but you can have this healthier version. There's nothing wrong with healthier versions, but like sometimes you just need to eat the ice cream. So it's fine. If I know the big thing right now is this like Ninja Creamy, and you can make all this ice cream, and everybody's making like protein ice creams, which is great. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you like them, that's awesome. But sometimes that's just not going to cut it. Sometimes you're like, nope, I want the real thing. I want to go to Cold Stone. I want this. So and it's learning that it's okay to have those days.
Well, and I mean, a lot of places you see it's progress over perfection.
Yes.
Because I was actually doing a workout and they were doing a quote on there and they said, basically, if you're perfect, you have nothing left to do.
Exactly.
You might as well, you're done.
Like,
this is over.
Congratulations. You don't need to work
life
anymore.
Achieved. You're good. You're done.
Yeah.
So what are you doing still? So I like that. I like the progress over perfection, because perfection automatically, like an Instagram filter, sets us up for failing.
Yeah. It's going to set you up for disappointment if you feel like you're going to be perfect at everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a really big thing for me when I started working out. If I missed a day at the gym, I felt terrible because I'm like, oh my God, I said I was going to go and I didn't. And now there's, I had some like crazy virus that just really ran its gambit. And there were days where I woke up and I said, no, you know what? My body can't do this today. And I'm not disappointed in myself. Am I a little irritated because I want to feel better? Yes. Yeah. But I'm not disappointed in myself for giving my body the opportunity to rest and recover. And so that's really where you have to step back and say, okay, this is a day that didn't go as planned, but I'm not going to let it make me feel like I did something bad. Like I gave my body what it needed. And tomorrow, if I'm feeling good enough, I'm going to go do these things. So yeah, like you said,
that's perfect. And honoring
progress over perfection.
Right.
Yeah.
So, well, I think that's all. I mean, all the things, they hit a lot of topics, and I appreciate you just taking the time.
I know, we could just talk forever.
Yeah, I know. Like, this could be a very long podcast. We're going to launch off into our goals and our dreams.
I know. Oh my gosh.
So that'll be the next podcast. But thank you again for joining.
Thank you for having me.
And
this has been fun.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you again for tuning in to the SOH, or State of Healthcare. This is Tracy Karras from Better Fit Therapy, asking you to tune in each week as a new podcaster. If you can like, subscribe, share with your friends, find us on social media, but also feel free to comment. Let us know some areas you'd like to explore. What are some concerns you have with healthcare? Let us find some areas that would help relate to you, what's going on with everybody else, and help me raise some awareness so that we can work on some change. Thank you again, and have a good night.